The Last Hope Dead Zone Survival is torture. I don't just mean that this Last of Us knockoff is terrible, even though it is, but rather, after spending time with this game, I genuinely believe it's been meticulously crafted to inflict the maximum amount of misery possible onto its players. Okay, so I've been binge-watching The Good Place, which might have influenced my way of thinking, but seriously, only a truly twisted, otherworldly mind could have devised the Last Hope stamina system. Oh, it sounds mundane enough, but this is a mechanic that had me going through 3 joypads, trying to figure out just what the hell was wrong when, spoilers, turns out it was just the game that was wrong at a fundamental level. When I woke up in the future, having possessed the body of a coma patient, my weapon of choice was a baseball bat. So as the wonkily animated Unity asset zombies lunged at my nipples, I swung wildly at them. In The Last Hope, there is no dignity in undeath, though I'm not quite sure whether they were trying to bite me or give me a titty twister. But then my bat stopped working, just as I was roaming the supermarket of stupidity. Now, Dead Rising's Frank West would have just filled his pockets in 5 seconds flat, but The Last Hope insists you ignore the heavily stocked shelves and instead comb the store for military MREs.
What in the world?
So there I was, zombies closing in, blocked by an impassable waist-high freezer because of course this game doesn't have a jump button, when I suddenly lost my primary method of defense. I just couldn't swing my bat anymore. Could I have tried a different game to see if the Joy-Con were working? Well, absolutely, but at that point The Last Hope had already started to rob me of any capacity for rational thought. Now, because the game absolutely does not tell you, I eventually figured out on my own that running or attacking saps your stamina, and it only refills when you collect certain scarce items. I'd puzzled over that stamina bar in question, but I'd foolishly assumed that no one would be that evil. I was so very, very wrong. Shortly after that, I met Eve, or maybe Ava. I'm not entirely sure because the game uses both names. Now, she might look like Ellie so much that Naughty Dog could probably sue, but she's got about as much personality as a rotting yak carcass. Oh, just like my yet-to-come daughter, protagonist Brian remarks upon meeting her. Now, was the game ham-handedly telegraphing a plot twist? I do not know, but I wouldn't guarantee it. I didn't finish the game as I somewhat value my own sanity, so there's a 50-50 chance it just forgets about that minor detail later on. Now, I've been known to grumble that Ellie in The Last of Us was, with a few exceptions, totally invisible to the infected. I mean, why should I be the only one getting my larynx chewed out by a clicker? But the moment The Last Hope handed me store-brand Ellie, I was wishing she shared the original superpowers. If a zombie so much as glances in her direction, she drops to her knees and covers herself, refusing to move until you've murdered the 3 nearest shamblers, at least one of which will try to eat her face. Then she spots some more and goes into duck and cover mode all over again. I ended up running out of bullets, which, because of the god-awful stamina system, meant I had no method of defending her or me. So my game boiled down to leaving her behind and hoping I could reach the next checkpoint before she got eaten. This would teleport her to my location, and I began the whole cycle of hell all over again. But what ultimately broke me was dealing with The Last Hope's lockpicking mechanic. It's a QTE-based tumbler system where you attempt to stop the circle in the right place. Should you miss one, you're greeted with an offensively noisy clang like a Cylon headbutting a lamppost, and you'll start all over again. But while you're picking away, the zombies are still shambling towards you, and you cannot exit the lockpicking screen. You'll be murdered mid-lockpick, but you won't know about it until that final tumbler clicks and you're greeted with the words, "You dead," and no, that grammatical error is not on our end. Before I played The Last Hope, my theory was that developer VG Games bundled knockoff Ellie in there not to fool people into thinking it was The Last of Us, but rather just so that they'd pay $1 to gawk. Oh, and side note, the game isn't even available on the US eShop, so I guess congrats, Europe? But now, I'm afraid there's a purpose behind its awfulness, something so sinister that the only way to halt their machinations is for Sony and Naughty Dog to step in and take legal action. When it's down to lawyers to save the world, you know something has gone horribly, horribly wrong.